I was born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Born and raised in California.
I'm from Guatemala, Central America.
Well, I was originally born in Carlsbad, actually, Southern California.
I was born in Lima, Peru. Fairly young in my life, I focused that I had a strong interest in medicine and started telling people I wanted to be a physician. I don't think I knew exactly what was about. I think the commitment and the science and biology was one of my favorite courses. Anatomy in high school, when you learn about the bones, I could recite the bone, all the bones in the human body very quick, very fast.
When I was 2 years old and we took a hike, I'm the one running in front of my siblings, you know, climbing on rocks and stuff, and always very sociable. Big social butterfly. That's always been kind of the term to describe me.
I was so friendly, and yeah, I have a lot of friends, and we always go swimming, play basketball, and every activities. I enjoy that.
I mean, I was like 10 or 11. They got me a bow and arrow for Christmas. A real bow and arrow, you know, not with the little rubber tips on them. This is like steel arrows. So I went down to our basement and, you know, shot up the lounge chairs from summertime, you know, put arrows through them, and put an arrow through our dehumidifier, because I don't know why. It never worked well after that either, let me say.
I tend to love people, and so I had a lot of friends. My mom would always say, what are you guys talking about? Why are there, you know, always coming over, and you guys are always, I would say to her, I remember, and she would always make fun of me later. She goes, I don't know, Mom, they just like coming to me with their problems. So I think at an early age, I honestly believe that I think I knew what I wanted to be.
I actually remember telling my mom when I was in high school, Mom, I have no talents whatsoever. You know, I see these people who can dance and sing, and she said, Mia, you have compassion for people, and you have this ability to interact with everyone. And she's like, that's a talent. And so I thought about it, and well, maybe it is a talent. So, and I guess that explains why I'm doing what I'm doing. So.
And I remember after my dad passed, which was 2 weeks after he came onto hospice, I remember thinking back at that experience and remembering how that social worker gave us such peace and support in guiding us through his transitions, you know, through the steps, through the process was what we do, you know, and now in the books that we read. And I remember the book that she gave us, and it was just so comforting to know and to be with him and to know where he was in his journey, that I said, I want to do that. And even then, I still didn't know it was hospice that I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do that for people.
My grandmother, she passed away from cancer when I was 6 years old. And I remember she was laying in her all-white bed, and it was a cloudy day, and we had windows along a hallway. And she was laying there all in her white bed in her white nightgown, and we were around. I was the only child out there. My siblings didn't really know how to handle it, but I just wanted to be there with her. And she took her last breath, and a tear fell out of her eye, and the clouds parted just enough to shine light on her face, and she was gone. And it still gives me chills to this day, you know.
These transitions in life really are significant. Kind of it's interesting to be a child and to grow up and then see your parents in one vein and then track them through life, and at some point later on you see them in a whole different vein, and you look at these pictures and they were so young and so vital and so full of life, and And then we tend to remember them just when they were in their later years, and oftentimes, suffering from some illness, and they're not anywhere near that person they were, 50, 60, 70 years before. But
when I was in medical school, nobody ever told me about end of life, or how to manage patient dying. You learn how to manage, how to cure things. So I think the only first time I was exposed to hospice was a rotation in my geriatric training. That was after medical school already. So the first step of accepting the hospice team is the most critical, because it opens the door of incredible service and an incredible support system. Yes, so I think that's when it became so valuable for them to really learn this part of life.
And really just talking to the patient and the family, really looking at the patient, as a whole, and realizing that these families have needs too, and, bringing in the social worker when they need them, and bringing in the chaplain when they need them, and the home health aide to come and give the baths, and, bringing in volunteer services. And so we really work as a communication with everyone, with all of the other disciplines, and the doctor, letting them know, because the doctor can't always be out to see the patients, so the doctors rely a lot on us to communicate. So we've got a really great team.
But when you're together, when you do joint visits, it's like you support each other. You bounce things off of each other. You pick up and support where maybe one can fall back, and it's just timing. It's almost, and so when you have a relationship with your team members in that way, timing is everything, and it kind of just flows.
Everybody's different, but I had a patient, she loves the way I put lotion in her body, and she say I have angel hands.
you really get immersed in people's lives in an intense way, maybe more so than I did in the church, because it was, a different vein, a different feeling. But the immediacy of all this, of course, in hospice is that these people are dying, and no one really knows exactly how long they have. And we tend to be getting patients later referrals, so they're not on as long as they, several years ago when people came on and stayed on for a while longer. So you really kind of have to get in there, meet a person for the first time in the family, try to establish almost an immediate rapport so that they can start developing some sort of trust in you, and so you can start talking about some of these issues and working with family dynamics and helping this patient find some peace at in their transition, and all in a very short period of time. You literally don't have weeks and months, maybe just days or hours. So it is an interesting business that we do.
I have seen, I have a very dear friend of mine who was not my patient, who died in his, was he 70-something, from cancer was everywhere in his body, and his family could never accept it. And he was, I tried to convince them, don't do more, just stop, accept hospice. No, we cannot. Hospice was like a failure for them. And it was sad. He died in the elevator of a hospital because the hospital could not do any more in the acute care, so he was being transferred to the transitional care to die not with hospice, just with the hospice field medication comfort management. And he was so critical for the intervention they did that he died in the elevator. And his wife is aware of that. She told me, I think we lost him. And then they didn't say that. They put him in the room, in the bed, and said, oh, he just died. But she knows he died in the elevator. So cool, no? So I wish they had accepted hospice 2 weeks before. He wouldn't have had a surgery that was done. And then he would have died surrounded by his family, accepting. It would have been a much easier process.
The social worker or chaplain will call me and say, hey, I was just with this patient and they were having pain. And, so we really work together really well.
One time too, I need to talk with the social service about one of the patients. So right away I called social service, Elba, and I explained her about the patient, and they fixed the problem. And I was happy too.
That's one of the greatest honors for me anyway, as far as what I do, is just to be able to provide a family, a patient and their family, some stability, some normalcy, some peace, and knowing that they're not alone in this, and that they have options, and that their wishes are respected, and we want to be there for them and do what they want.
I have a patient who had followed for quite a while with advanced Parkinson's, advanced dementia, multiple medications, and she has been my patient for almost over 15 years. The family was detailed, never accepting. They always wanted her to be alive, no matter what. No? And she had a heart condition that, on top of all the conditions, that became critical. And then I got to intervene. No? The next day I said, you need hospice, because whatever we do, she's going to die anyways, and you will have this team that will support you on a daily basis. They might put a nurse on continuous care the way things were going. When I called them to give them my condolence, they saw it that way. They said, oh, you know what? Now I see, I think one of the daughters was in 24-hour care for the mother, where it was affecting her health too. I said, oh my God, I think God knew, because my sister could no longer do it, and her care was so critical, so difficult, that we accept that. We accept that it was meant to be that way, and we are very happy, that she died so peacefully. So that was like, wow, that was pretty impressive,
There's days that I wake up and say I don't want to get out of bed, but there's never a day that I get up and say I don't want to go to work. And that's a great feeling. It's hard to find.
We have patients who had gone through 60, 70, 80, 90 years of life, who had all this legacy of families and their legacy into when they were active in the community producing. And so let's celebrate life. Let's celebrate their life.
I like celebration. I do. I look forward to going to it, and it's, how did I hear somebody say, it's refilling.
I like celebrations, but always cry over there too, to hear all the nice experience. I always cry too. But that's a good feeling. You take all things from your heart.
Me being a medical director of this company made me very proud of it, that we are also trying to close that gap of lack of knowledge in the community, or in many different sections of the community, how we are not ready. So the blog is a fantastic instrument to inform the public.
I could never have imagined that I would have ended up exactly where I was supposed to be, not knowing where that was until now. I love the people who I work for. I love the people I work with. And overall, I love what I do, and the people and the patients that I serve and their families. So I feel like I'm the luckiest person ever, and super grateful. Yeah. That was the easiest question ever right there.